There are stories about great superhumans that ruled the heavens with the supremacy of gods. They ruled the earth with people that praised them for their awesome powers. Those stories are the legends of the Greek gods, myths that inspired the globe. Those stories give you an awe-inspiring sense of realization and confidence. Each story honored the gods with tales of value and understanding, and each story you take with you changes your interpretations. This is not one of those super cool stories. This whole story began with a bully. Phaëton, the son of Phoebus Apollo and the nymph Clymene, cried wee 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 all the way home, complaining to his mother about a classmate of his that had laughed at the idea of Phaëton being a son of a god. Phaëton says, "Mom, nobody believes me. They laugh at the idea that my father is a god. My reputation is going down. They think I'm crazy. I need evidence." In full-fledged defensive mother mode, Clymene calls up to the heavens. "Hey, jerk, do you see what your son has to deal with? His friends are skeptical of his honesty. They laugh at his honesty. Phaëton, I am telling you the truth. You are of heavenly birth. Go, insist upon your father's acceptance of you as his own." Phaëton traveled to India, the country directly under the sunrise. He strode up the vertical slope to meet Phoebus with optimistic pride. But when Phaëton finally saw him, he broke into a nasty and very unattractive sweat. He liked to think it was because of the intense heat from the glow around his father, or because he was nervous. But in reality, it was because this was the most peer pressure he's ever endured in his whole adolescent life. Beside his father stood the day, the month, the year, and the hours, along with all 4 seasons too. Phaëton approaches Phoebus, and Phoebus says, "Welcome, Phaëton." "Sup," says Phaëton. "I got your mother's voicemail." "Oh yeah? Talk about holding a grudge." Well, anyway, I have a duty to fulfill. Another thing to scratch off my to-do list. Phaëton, I'm your father." "No." "Search your feelings. You know it to be true." "Well, obviously, but that's not any news to me. I need proof. I promise you anything you want. Any proof, evidence, anything at all. And it's yours." "Sweet. Well, then I want to drive your chariot." "Anything except that." "But you just said—" "I've spoken rashly," Phoebus thunders. "Phaëton, please heed my warning. The request you desire is tremendously hazardous. Not even Jupiter may drive my chariot. The trip is long and tiring, and way too dangerous for my half-godlike offspring. The first part is steep. Don't think I didn't see you break into a sweat when you walked into my halls. I am the sun god, and I see everything. If you can barely walk up a steep ascent, how the heck are you going to drive up it, I ask? But then there's the middle part, high up in the heavens. If you are able to survive the first part and are able to get through the middle, don't expect the last part to be a picnic. No breaks. You have to be fully alert. That means no text reading while driving. The last part descends at a very fast pace, so you have to be on guard for the heavens turning and carrying the sun and stars with it. This provides you with the motive to go faster. Along the way, you'll be faced with many obstacles. An obstacle is not meaning like your everyday intoxicated charioteer. This is the ultimate challenge. You must pass the horns of the bull, pass the archer, go near the lion's jaws, and pass the pincers of both the scorpion and crab. And through all this, you have to guide the strong horses of the chariot of the sun. The horses are full of fire that's exhaled through their mouths and noses. Phaëton, if you want evidence, see all the proof in my concern for you. Please, please ask for something else." But Phaëton shakes his head again. "I want to drive the chariot of the sun, and that's my final request. Did you even consider all the consequences I just made clear to you?" "I'm ready whenever you are, father." With an agitated gruff, Phoebus let his fatherly concerns subside as he led Phaëton to the sparkly gold and diamond-encrusted chariot. The early dawn opened the doors of the east, the day star and moon retired, and the hours harnessed the horses. Phoebus powdered his son with unguent. "This is foolish of you," Phoebus said. "I shouldn't be letting you do this." "You should have chosen your words more carefully," Phaëton replies. "Then, when you allowed me anything at all." "Don't talk back to me. Now remember, you must not go too high or too low. The middle is always the safest and best." "What if I do go too low or high?" Phoebus gave his son a dark, serious look. "Go too high, you'll burn the heavens. Go too low, you'll set the earth afire." Phaëton mounted the chariot as the horses filled the atmosphere with their hot breath and neighs. The bars open, and the horses dart forward toward the universe lying ahead of them. The mares noticed that their new driver was lighter than their original driver, and the chariot rocked uncomfortably back and forth like a boat with no passengers. Suddenly, Phaeton realizes that he's not able to steer the horses in the right direction, and they charge off course. He felt pale with fear. "I wish I never touched those stupid horses and the stupid chariot," Phaeton glums. "Never knew Phoebus was my father, and never requested this." As the regrets poured into his head, Phaeton sees the colossal zodiac signs appear before him. He breaks into a nervous sweat. The scorpion reaches its claws over the two other zodiac forms, and scares Phaeton so badly he releases the reins. Within minutes, the horses had scattered in several directions. Fire surfaced everywhere. Clouds began to smoke, and mountains and fields heated up. Plants withered, and trees disappeared. Things were getting much worse. Cities perished, and people of all kinds turned into ashes. The forest-clad mountains, Athos, Taurus, and Oit, burned. The mountain springs of Ida had dried up. The Muses' mountains, Helicon, Haemus, Etna, Parnassus, and Rhodope, who parted with its snowy peak, had fire brimming in and out of them. Rhodope couldn't be protected from Scythia. Caicos, Ossa, Pindus, Olympus, the Alpines, and the Apennine mountains flamed. Deserts and the sea dried up, and waves became islands. The fish and dolphins left the surface of the ocean, and even Neptune was chased away by the scorching heat. Earth looked up at the heavens and screamed, "Why, King of the gods? What have I done to deserve this treatment? I have given you my assistance and fertility, and I am repaid by fire. Please let me die by your thunderbolts, not by this cruelty." Jupiter hears Earth's cries and summons all the gods together, including Phoebus. When he looks for clouds for a screen direction to hurl his bolts toward Earth and finds none, he sends them launching at Phaeton. Phaeton's hair catches fire and he falls. As he falls, he marks the heavens with the brightness of a shooting star until he finally lands into the great river Eridanus. The river receives him and cools him. Italian naiads make a tomb in honor of him with an inscription on it. Driver of Phoebus' chariot, Phaeton, struck by Jove's thunder, rests beneath this stone. He could not rule his father's car of fire, yet it was much so nobly to aspire. The Heliads, Phaeton's sisters, were changed into poplar trees along Eridanus river banks, weeping from the loss of him, their tears continuously flowing, and then turning into amber. There are stories about death that mess with your heart and make you cry. They are stories like those that make even the coldest of people become warm in the heart. Those stories may change your point of view, how you would see the world. Those stories might even inspire you or make you realize how important the ones around you are. Each story honors the ones that have passed on and always reminds us of the forever true lesson, never take anyone for granted. This was one of those super cool stories.